Today I am going to be trying to recreate No One Knows from Songs for the Deaf. And you may be thinking, why recreate a whole song? Trying to make it as accurate as possible. It's because I think that when you really try to mimic and recreate a recording that you like as accurately as possible, you're going to learn a lot. And you're going to learn little techniques that you can then use in your own original music. So yeah, I love doing this every once in a while. I feel like it's a great help and gives you new ideas, new fresh ideas for your own original music, production techniques, even down to learning how to play the whole song and playing it on their instruments or whatever. So without further ado, let's do it. All right. I essentially made the whole intro, and then I realized that it was only recording the desktop audio and not my voice. Now I can't record desktop audio because it makes my MacBook want to melt and it starts sounding like a jet engine. But here's what we started off with. So we have, I just have a few guitar patches. They're layered to get a tone that I kind of liked. I guess the most tricky thing with this is really kind of playing it in the pocket. So I ended up doing a ton of takes and then choosing these good ones. Yeah, they're kind of spliced throughout because it's very rhythm. You got to be really on it with the mutes, and then also playing the higher notes louder than the lower ones. Kind of hard to get a take where it's super clear. It's you can play it and it's, it sounds fine, but you got to really put more emphasis on the higher strings, I guess. And then playing the bass was a little, I feel I'm almost behind the beat a little. I felt it sounded a little better if I'm kind of lagging. And then for the drums, I'm just playing the drums on this pad and trying to play them well enough to not I have to quantize them because it's meant to sound like real drums. I know Mr. Dave Grohl is very particular about not quantizing stuff and using a good live take, which I think is it's pretty, pretty boomerish. I think that what sounds good, but this is Dave Grohl's drumming on this song, so I might as well trying to make it accurate. But not quantizing your drums, even if you're using a drum machine or something, if you're playing it well enough, can make it feel more natural. So it's something to think about if you want to do it that way. And yeah, so here's the bass and the drums together. Now we're going to move on to the verse. I guess I'll start by programming the drums and doing the bass. So basically, if it is the same drum beat, I might be able to just copy it. So if most of it's just the same. Oh, actually, no, I'm going to record a new one because it doesn't have the little swing feely thing. It has the kick on every beat, right? Sound better yeah, I think I like that more. The cymbal. Right. I think he's got a very loose hi-hat. What if I replace this with little kind of since it's a loose hi-hat, does kind of sound like it's opening and closing immediately. So I kind of recreated that here. I don't know what happened there. It is really tedious kind of going through section by section of a song and just trying to pick out every single little drum fill and make it the exact same. I know this song is about to get a lot more complicated, so let's copy this over. Okay, so those drums are exactly the same. So I'm copying them over, and then it copies this little section twice. Okay, so those are the drums tabbed out. All right, enough of the bass. Get back to the guitars. He plays it so, it's so squeaky, you know, like. I'm just gonna leave this, and I already have this little section. I think if I just copy this, it's gonna sound pretty darn good. I like that. All right, now, this is like my favorite little fill in the song is. Now to get rid of this, we actually got to play the. Some of these fills are hard to play in context, yeah. Nice. The drums for this part are going to be tough to like reconstruct because he just starts fucking going. So I really got to take this like measure by measure. That's freaking hard. I'm dragging. A little just doing this one by like note by note, so that they kind of are like not contact, like a little off beat, so it sounds more natural. But then, because I can't fucking just play this shit. Oh brother, who hired this guy? He fucking stinks. That sounds cool. I'm fucking good with that. There we go. So I want to copy this one over. Such a Frankenstein's monster of like splicing sections together throughout like the whole song. There we go. Dude, that sounds really satisfying. Yeah, it's just that. Dude, that sounds fucking cool. Crash, right? Crash left, crash right. Okay, hold on. It's right, then left. So right. So now, it's all bass runs. Now I can just copy this. No. I copied it. So much fun playing with these octaves. Yeah, I kind of like that stanky little riff. It's kind of funny. I'm going to play a little clip. It's just Josh Homme talking about like him using this like octave technique in his guitar playing a lot, because it's like one little quirk of his guitar playing that he'll use sometimes. So here's that.
I don't know. People used to call these Ramones chords. These just the two fingers.
Yeah.
But I never learned that way. It was always I started picking up, you know, the octave finger. But I started to say, wow, this could be my thing.
And that's a subtractive move. You're taking out a note of the chord.
Basically, most of my playing is about taking something away.
I need to pick this up later because it's starting to get late. And yeah, so in the second verse, I basically only had to add in like some harmonics here and there. Change up the drum, or change up the bass groove. There's some different bass runs, but then also recorded like those eerie little like background vocals, threw those in there. Look at me just recording with the speakers playing, no headphones, no nothing, going in and raw dogging it. The frick, man. Kind of fun to record this way. It's also like Billie Eilish has talked about doing it too.
Yeah, so this is how we recorded this is how we
all the
wrote
vocals of this song. Yeah.
All the vocals on Chihiro were in the room with like the feedback from the speakers in the room. These speakers were just, we didn't use headphones, we were just kind of...
We didn't invent this, by the way. Like,
yeah, no, not at all. But it was extremely useful, so
You'll just record the vocals with the speakers still just playing, so you get like the background noise, because you just don't give a F. But also, like, it adds kind of like the character of the room, which I'm going to get later in this video. I'm going to get a whole lot more into the recording stuff, routing it through the room. So you're going to see more of that. But yeah, it's kind of a cool concept. Actually, I think I'm going to double it up a little bit more. Like, give each one a double. So we have two. And then from here is like the same thing. I just copied the chorus over, but had to change a couple things to make it fit. Something about the way I look in this clip makes me look like a toddler playing with a toy, like a giant little man baby. I'm a genius. Yeah, all right. So that's just gonna go here. So yeah, see here I'm literally just like punching in and recording over how it originally was to give it the new runs and stuff. It's fucking fast. I need to play quicker. It gets really scratchy. Oh, okay. I'm gonna go. So let's lay out the drums for that first. Okay, I think that's all I needed to do here. Fuck. I think that this is just copy and paste. Is there a way that I can like close the crash? Okay. So close. I think let's copy this one over because the last couple are a little weak. And then let's redo this last. All right, now here we're getting to the fun part. So buckle up. Yeah, it's weird that it's, I don't know, it sounds like it's two basses doubled up for like two notes. I have no idea why. Okay, I think I'm getting pretty satisfied with this. Okay, bass time. Okay, copy this over. Okay, so there's horns. It sounds like VST horns. Maybe they're real. And then there's strings that are rising. Orchestral, brass. I'll see if I can find like an arrangement for the trombones.
Okay, so isolated orchestra track. Here we go.
This is fucking cool. They have all the stems somehow.
Wow. Star Wars.
This video is actually super useful. They have literally all the stems isolated and they go through the whole song. So after I finished my like initial recording, I definitely went back through and watched that and changed some things based off of things that I could only hear in the isolated stems that I misheard trying to play them by ear or whatever in the main recording. So yeah, this video is super cool. The channel's called Deep Inside the Music. So go check them out. These are like fucking... I'm gonna play the bones. Might just be that. All right, we are back yet again. So I literally just grabbed a couple risers from Free Sound. I grabbed this one, and I literally just looked up like orchestral riser, and I grabbed this one right here. And on their own, they sound like this. So that like gets the bulk of it, except there's that one little note, that C that you need to hear to like finish it off. Something like this. And when you add the trombones in there, it's not bad. And here's the whole thing. So now it's time to actually play the guitar solo now that I got the whole thing mapped out. Okay. Oh, brother, that part sounded kind of ass. Don't worry, I fixed it. I fixed it later. I know you're gonna be there and you're gonna be like, no, you played the solo wrong. I don't give a fuck. It almost sounds more like it when I just play with my thumbs, without a pick. That's pretty darn close, I would say. Yeah, so then I just had to copy over the last part of like the little outro that's, the same, it's very similar to the verses, except it's got a little thing where you pluck the strings on the top of the guitar and then put in the little background vocals like this. So that's that. So that's that. So, okay, this is kind of important to me. So I'm about to bring you into my car to show you how I like record vocals in the car. Because, dude, for me, it's like I get stage fright singing something in my own G-dang house, right? I'm like, I know that, the neighbors are going to hear me and they're going to think I'm stupid. They're going to think I'm so bad at it. it's going to be so embarrassing. They're going to knock on my door and tell me to shut up. So the way I get around that, because honestly, like it honestly does genuinely demotivate me to record vocals or sing or like try new stuff or make new covers or record some original songs or whatever. So I go out in my car at night and I record vocals in the car. So this is how I do that. All right, so I'm out here in my car. I wait till the sun goes down so that it's not hot as balls, and also so that nobody sees me. And then I hide in my car down the street and I like record vocals in here. So that's what I'm gonna be doing right now. I literally just bring my microphone and my laptop in the car here. All right, so this is what it looks like. I literally just sit here with and hold my microphone. I've actually recorded like a lot of my music like this. Yeah, he ain't lying. And here's a couple excerpts of some songs where I like recorded all the vocals in my car, because it's like pretty much all my stuff.
I'm a man of the sand, the land, watch the prints of our feet and the movement of my hands. I know only the salt, the sea, the air we breathe. I am king. When feeling so cold.
And I think it sounds pretty good. I do. So fight me. I know that there's probably some like audio snobs that are like, oh, you need a perfectly treated dead room, otherwise it's shit. But I don't care. The sound is pretty dead in a car. Like, it's pretty soundproof. Like, if you put like fabric over the glass, like over the windows, I don't think that it can get any more soundproof than that. Okay, this song is kind of like, I think that me and Josh have like a similar vocal range. But this, because we both kind of have like lower baritone voices. Sometimes I worry that somebody's gonna knock on my on like the window of my car. Like, hey, you got a permit to sing around these parts, boy? But I think that, I can pull this off, but it's gonna be pushing it. I'm gonna start with the chorus. All right. I haven't even warmed up my voice at all, so let's see how this sounds.
And I realize you're mine. Indeed, the fool am I.
Oh, God. I knew that was going to sound bad, but that is not, trust me when I say that is not my finest work. I decided to record these vocals on a day where I was hungover and my voice was worn out. And then I also didn't warm up. And brother, was that a mistake. I recorded the whole song and it sounded like hot garbo. So I'm going to spare you from listening to the rest of that little car session. So I went through and like re-recorded a lot of it over the next couple days. So, yeah. And then I wanted to try this technique where I get in my little bubble of just using Logic amps so much and only fiddling with software stuff that I wanted to use like my real amps. So they're talking in that same video, about how Josh Homme likes using like practice amp or something.
Yeah, he uses a strange practice amp called a PV Decade a lot. It's a part of his tone, but it's the only clue. That's the only I can come up with. There's a lot more to it. He's very inventive, pushes it, man, and you can hear it.
I don't have that same amp, but I do have like a Fender practice amp. So here's me using that. I'm kind of just routing clean signal out, the signal that I recorded of the guitars, routing that clean out into the Fender as if it's like a speaker, just cranking up the gain on the practice amp itself. So it's pretty squeaky. So there's that. And then there was another video of Josh talking about some of his guitar techniques. And he's talking about having a whammy pedal and leaving it half cocked.
I'm also a fan of wah pedals
and not just for wowing them, but leaving them sort of half cocked in a certain position, because you get a lot from a pedal like that just by leaving it somewhere. It's like many pedals in one. Okay, there's some nerding shit for you.
He said sometimes he just leaves it half pushed and just plays and lets that just be a static part of his tone, which ended up sounding really cool for the guitar solo on this song. So I also routed it through my Line 6 amp, took a couple takes of those. There's also my pedal board you can see here. It's just some fuzz pedals, overdrive, and like a noise gate. That's basically all that I use on here. And then I also, did the same thing to the bass, routed it through a bass amp. My big old Fender bass amp. Here are some of the settings on that. Basically just kind of cranked up the gain in the bass amp. And then I recorded the drums through the speakers. So like I was saying, recording the sound of the drums through the sound of the room, right? Because like when you think of how drums are recorded, all the drums are mic'd up, but then there's also a mic for the room itself that you'd mix in. So it has the like kind of natural reverb. So how I replicate that with like a VST drum is by playing the VST through my speakers, putting the microphone up to the speaker, so it still gets the reverberations of the room. But yeah, so that's some of the routing that I've done. Now I want to play this little clip of Josh. This kind of fits in with the theme of this video, I guess, is trying to chase a tone, trying to chase a style or whatever.
The reason I don't really go through my rig is because I think the discovery of, I know it's cool to figure out and hear what people do. I've always enjoyed the discovery, the journey, the experience of being an explorer in all of this. And I'm looking for the space between things. That's where I would like to fit in. That's my suggestion to anybody. I don't go through my rig because I worked really hard to have a sound that's different, and I want you to chase me. I don't want to tell you. I want you to chase me. This is hide and go seek. Find me. I think what you will find is not me, but you'll find yourself on the search to see what I'm doing. And that's what this is all about. Anyone that tells you there's rules is lying to you because they want you to work for them.
This video isn't just doing that for like guitar tone, right? It's doing that for the whole song. But in the effort of chasing something and trying to recreate it, you figure out what you're good at, you figure out what you're not. I don't think I got the tones like perfect by any stretch of the means, but I got some pretty cool guitar tones that sound a little more unique than just what Josh would have made. Something that I can use in my own music, right? So that's kind of the point. It's like I kind of want to like motivate you, like, hey, you get out there and start producing stuff, start chasing stuff, because in the pursuit of getting closer and closer to what you're chasing, you're probably going to stumble on something new. And something unique. So that's what I'm saying. And then I just spent a lot of time fucking with the song and trying to mix it, bouncing it. Really good technique is to like make a mix, bounce it, and listen to it in your car, because a lot of music is listened to in a car, and car speakers can be a range of shitty to great to whatever. It's good practice to listen on as many speakers as you have. Little speakers, shitty speakers, earbuds, headphones, AirPods. But nothing beats old reliable, and that's the car test. So any mix you make, you better listen to that thing in the car. I'll probably bounce a song anywhere from like 12 to 25 times if I'm really working on trying to get my song perfect before releasing it. So yeah, just doing that, and then worked on it, made color-coded little Logic sessions, so it give you some eye candy, so you little zoomers can pay attention, like dangling keys in front of your face. But yeah, here's the full session. So, and then I'll play the full song. All right, so here's the finished session. Kind of like giving it a rough mix and everything. So I've tried my best to like get as close as I can to mimicking the right tones and everything. At a certain point, it was like, all right, I got to try not to just go for like copying the tone exactly. I just got to make it sound good and try to mix it to sound as good as it can. So yeah, so one of the things that I'm like most satisfied with is the guitar tone for the solo. So let me play that. Taking that concept of trying to leave a wah pedal like half cocked and just let it sitting there. Because I did that through 2 of the amps, and I found that that tone wasn't really working very well for the rest of the song. But it sounds spot on for the solo. So if you see how the automation is going here, all these other patch amps and these 2, this is my practice amp right here. So these two tracks on my practice amp. These 2 tracks are the line 6 that has the wah pedal on. And then these are just the patch guitar rigs that I have loaded up. I basically only have a tiny bit of these patches, but it's all mostly this. So this is what the line 6 sounds like, both amps together, just with the wah. I also like how the trombones and everything ended up coming out. So here's like the orchestra section isolated. Yeah, so this reminds me of like how like the Indiana Jones music. It plays into like the whole cartoon villain thing. Like they got like a Halloween vibe to them. You know what I'm saying? Like they embrace it in different ways. I feel like Josh Homme's guitar style sounds like I've seen people describe it as evil blues, which makes sense. And I like that description. Like it's rooted in blues rock like guitar, but it's just so macabre. Other than that, a lot of the guitars, if you look at the automation here, I take the liberty to like fade in certain parts and fade out from most of the song. I leave it with just these 2 patches because I thought that these 2 patches sound just right. Like the main riff kind of and everything. Phasing in the other guitars felt like a little bit too much. But I did like to fade in the little pluck above the nut of the guitar. Yeah, I said nut. And then other instances where I'm fading in the guitars a lot more is obviously it picks up a lot in volume here at the chorus. But one thing that I kind of ended up getting pointed out from that video where they have the isolated stems, it's that the first run of the is quiet, but then it opens up when they get to that first section with the power chords because I faded in the line 6 amp and then both the practice amps, right? But then if you see the automation up here, the whole thing gets louder as the power chords like kind of erupt. And this whole amp gets unmuted right as it goes through the section. So that definitely makes it sound bit more huge. I have little places like this where I'll fade in the extra amps for like the little harmonics. Just to kind of get a little bit more character out of it. I think I do it here too on this first little run. Just to pump a little more volume and like a little bit more texture into it overall. So that's that for the guitars. And then I definitely had a lot of fun with the bass tone as well. And doing a similar thing, like for the verses, I wanted to keep it dry and tight and simple. So it's kind of this like fuzz drive, these like logic patches just that are straight direct in. like minimal reverb or anything. And then the volume and everything increases, and I fade in the 2 live amps and on top of it for the chorus. So that, yeah, really fills out the space. Yeah, they just sound a bit more huge, and like there's a bit more space because there's more natural reverb. But I felt like using that in the verse kind of supposed to be a bit tighter, so it didn't quite work. So that's why you can kind of use these dynamics. It's not something you would really notice, but it like changes how it feels quite a bit. It really does wonders for like this section. So this is where the bass is like just front and center. So I felt like it needed a lot more character, and I think it sounds really cool when I have these other amps gained up. There's also this whole track that I recorded of the entire song through the speakers to get the reverb from my room that I have layered over top of it, that I fade up and down depending on when I want it to have more character, because that's one thing. Like, you can use all the reverb plugins you want, but they will always sound a little bit artificial compared to the natural reverb in a room. Can sometimes sound really warm if you use it the right way. And it's also like, I don't know, it just adds a lot of like unique character, because it's also like nobody else can use, I like the idea that nobody else can use that reverb unless they record something in your room. You know what I mean? And then it fades out. But I think if you use that correctly, I mean, it sounds like it's recorded on like a fucking iPhone or something, right? But I think it just adds just a little bit of saturation, like some harmonics, that if you use it like tastefully, sounds pretty cool. There's actually a version of this that I bounced that I had all those room mics turned up a lot, and I had separate ones for the vocals to make the vocals sound even roomier. Same with the drums and the bass and everything. And the full track that was then routed back into itself with the room's reverb. And it kind of sounded like it sounded way too spacey to actually be used as like a studio thing. But rerouting it through my own room made it sound like a live version of the song. It made it sound like, because that's literally what you hear when you have a live recording. They're not in sound treated booths or whatever. If you're like listening to a band play at like your local bar, all the sound is, bouncing off. Even if it's recorded professionally or whatever, those mics are still picking up all the reverb that's in the room because it's not treated. And that's what gives like live, versions of songs, they're like kind of distinct characteristics. I'll play a little bit of it right now. I think it sounds pretty cool to have us like on separate thing. Now for the drums, I split off the cymbals. The way that they recorded this, the way that like Dave Grohl tracked this was recording the cymbals separately. So I wanted to replicate that. So I have the cymbals split off. They're compressed on their own. So they sound kind of floaty. Right? And then with the drums, I routed them the same way. And I like having both these tracks so you can fade them in and out because you want it to be more present. You want it to be more crisp and clear. You make the VST part louder. You want to make it sound more natural. Then you can ride the drum mic, the room mic up a bit. So this is what that sounds like. So this is just the drums with no room. Here's the room. This is what it sounds like on its own, right? I think this sounds really cool. And I've just kept it consistent. Like, this is the tone that I liked. Because this song has a very, like, the way that the drums and everything sounds, it's all very tight. It's all very contained. And so when like it kind of opens up in like the chorus and everything, and then comes back down to like the super tight groove, and the drums sound super crisp and clear. It's almost like a machine is like producing the whole thing. So I didn't add a ton of the drum room tracks in there, but I added just a little bit so that they still sound natural. And if you want to hear it with the cymbals, right? If I was redoing this, actually, I'd probably make the crashes louder and a little more aggressive because they are a little too floaty, I think. But for next time. So then other than that, we have all the work that I did on the vocals. So I did a lot of re-recording for the vocals. Turns out I needed to not be hungover without warming up my voice to actually be able to sing that song, because this is a tough song to sing for like a lower baritone. But what was really fun was doing the extra like whisper tracks and everything. So here's some of those. It sounds like a ghost is like whispering to you in a cave or whatever. And like I thought it sounded nice with a lot of reverb, like a high end reverb. Also did it for the chorus. And I realize you're mine. There's this other video that of like a vocal coach who was kind of going through and breaking down the isolated vocals from this song and like replicating them. And that was also pretty helpful in showing like just how Josh Homme makes such interesting vowel choices in all of his singing. Because, you know, he is like a baritone in rock music, which is obviously dominated by like higher voices, like dominated by tenors and everything. But his voice is so unique, and like he has such a personal style of singing, I guess, that has like a lot of swagger and a lot of character to it. And then just also making weird vowel choices that's like, it's almost like he's singing with some weird accent, you know? So I couldn't fully, it felt weird for me to like fully try to replicate that. Maybe if I took a lot more time, I could like get a better singing impression of Josh Homme or something, right? This is a studio recorded track. So there's, you know, pitch correction that I use to definitely help hone in some of the higher notes and everything that I'm singing that usually it can maybe fall flat, or just vibrato that's wavering a bit too much on either side. Thing with like rock music songs like this, you listen to it and you're like, he didn't use autotune or whatever. That's just his voice. There is a little bit of pitch correction. There's almost always a little bit of pitch correction, but it's about singing it so close to perfect that when you use that pitch correction to hone it in and like iron it out so that you're right on pitch, right? That's, you know, how studio recording of vocals works. In the layered kind of gang vocals in like the second verse, when you listen to those isolated, you can tell that those are really auto-tuned. Those are really squashed to get like a perfect harmony. So I definitely recreated that with this. I don't know why it cuts out like that, but you can't really hear it. And then if you solo like the whisper tracks and the vocals and everything. With no hope, I follow. And it's funny, I really like how that sounds isolated. I think it fits into the mix less than ideally for my taste, but I got it to a point where it's like, I'm satisfied enough with it. And so basically what I have layered up here with these vocals is like, you know, I have it run through like a little amp that's pretty quiet. A journey through the desert. To add a bit of like bite to the vocals, right? And then I also have another track that's distorted, but I have it formant shifted down a couple notes. So basically formant shifting like changes the tone down, but not the actual pitch. So it can make your voice sound lower or higher depending on like, without actually changing the notes that you're singing or changing key. So I thought adding a little bit of this definitely helped make it sound a little richer, a little fuller. It's also one thing about like singing really high at the top of your range when you have like a lower voice, it makes your voice sound a lot more like juvenile kind of. adding this in was a cool kind of way to thicken up the voice a little bit. So that's what this track isolated sounds like. Right? So then you add back in, like, here's the straight lead vocals that are pitch corrected a bit.
A journey through.
Then again, not too much that it sounds super obvious, right? Or super distracting.
The desert of the mind with no hope.
And then another fun part with the vocals is over here at the end, where it's just the distorted formant vocals and the vocals run through an amp, right?
Heaven smiles above me. What a gift here below.
And that is basically the whole fucking song. So without any more yapping, or you know what, I'll show the chorus vocals. So here too, it's like double tracked a lot.
And I realize you're mine. Indeed, a fool am I. And I realize you're mine. Indeed, a fool am I.
Yeah. All right. That's the song. Now here's the whole fucking thing.
No
That's a full song. I like it. I mean, I don't think it's perfect. I don't think I am going to be fooling anybody. Maybe some of the instrumental parts, I think maybe if you're driving down the road and, you know, you're playing my version out the window, somebody walking by who knows the song might be like, oh yeah, they're playing No One Knows. Maybe not necessarily be like, what is this cover of No One Knows? Anyways, I don't know. Maybe I'm just blowing smoke up my own ass. But yeah, if you want to hear, here's time for my little shameless plug. I also make, you know, original music. And here's one of my songs. That song is called No More. That's one of my more rock focused songs. Could say it's inspired a little bit by Queens of the Stone Age. So if you like some quotes, then maybe you'll enjoy that too. But yeah, that's about it. So bye.